It's time for the Voice of Indie. Your hosts today are Beem, author and producer for Fresh Ink Group, and Stephen Gees, author, producer, composer, and publisher for Fresh Ink Group.
And good evening, everybody. Welcome to another Wednesday live streaming episode of the Voice of Indie podcast. We are on number 239. And I am Beem Weeks, as you can see my name there in the bottom of the screen, and Mr. Stephen Gees, Fresh Ink Group. How are you doing down there in Alabama?
I'm doing great, 239 shows. That certainly is an exciting number. I'll give away a free book to the first person who can call in and name every guest we've had in order. 239 in a row.
I can't even do that.
Yeah. Those of you who are tuning in this week looking for Angie Birmingham, we had to reschedule her. She travels the country and the world taking photos, and she picked up a bug somewhere and is under the weather. But she's leaving for, I think, Nairobi in late April, and we managed to squeeze her in on April 9th. So mark your calendars. If you're looking for Angie Birmingham and learning about photography and whatnot, April 9th is when she will be on.
Yeah, and so tonight, as you've seen on the placard, we have Dr. Janice D. Toney. So this is going to be a fun show. Some of you probably have tuned in when she's been on the other show. So check that out. Yeah, rescheduled for April 9th. Next week, we have John W. Howell. He's a good friend of the show and a good friend, period, not just of the show, but he's a good person, and he's a fine author, and we're going to talk about some new stuff he's got out. So we got some comments already here. We got hi from Patricia Guthrie, Patricia A. Guthrie, and she's an author as well. And we got good evening, gentlemen, from Berwang Greenhow, also an author. And it's good to have you all in the audience tonight, and we're going to have fun with this.
Yeah, now those of you who are familiar with Ingram printing, print-on-demand printing, or Amazon's print-on-demand printing have been informed lately that the prices of printing are increasing again. I believe it's April 30th. Is that right, Beem?
I believe that's when the increase is.
Yeah. So we've looked at the prices. It's just a small increase. It's modest, but it's enough to keep cutting into royalties and profits and stuff. So those of you who are printing through Ingram or Amazon, pay attention, and especially Fresh Ink Group authors, if you want to order quantities to take to events, book signings, and things like that, you probably want to get your orders in soon before the price increase.
Definitely. Yeah, and I think that's probably going to end up being my next Story Empire piece. I think I'm going to write something about the increases and how it affects us authors. Maybe or maybe not. I've got a couple of ideas for what I'm going to write. But another thing we've got going on is audiobooks. We got a whole bunch of them. Author Robert G. Williscroft, he's got several of his books are available in audiobooks. Just go over to Amazon, type in Robert G. Williscroft, and look for his audiobooks. These are a blast. They're fun to do. We've got Ellie Collins, her Greek mythology trilogy. All three books are in audio form as well as print form and ebook form. So yeah, this is something we really enjoy doing. We'd like to do more of them. I mean, they are a lot of fun to do, and we hire some of the best voiceover artists. I put sound effects and music and whatnot. So if you have a scene break in the middle of a chapter, there's a little piece of music that'll go on there that alerts the reader that, hey, here's a scene break. And if there's a car explosion in the scene, you're going to hear it.
So who narrated the one from Cheryl Carpinello?
The one from Cheryl Carpinello is Ethan Drew. Ethan Drew is an actor, a legitimate Hollywood actor. He was in a pretty big movie with Christopher Lloyd, Doc Brown from Back to the Future, or as us old guys know him as the Reverend Jim Ignatowski from Taxi. He was also in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So, yeah. A little while ago, Patricia A. Guthrie and Verwayne Greenhall posted a comment, and hey, you can too. we would like to hear from you. Post your comments live, watch from these platforms, and tell us what's going on with you tonight. If you got a question or a comment for tonight's guest or for the hosts, shoot us a comment.
So, you friends of the show are familiar with many of the books we've been touting lately. One of those is Trains of Alabama by teenager Braden Dexter Green, who's made his summer project before starting high school, going out and shooting trains and writing the stories behind them about the heritage engines and the different short lines in the area and whatnot. And he's been having a lot of fun with that book. What a great experience for a teenager. He's now turned 15, and he's starting to hear from people around the country who are liking his book and getting a lot of attention. He just got invited by a guy who wrote a series of train books, historical train books, years and years ago, who's now a member of the Historical Society in Birmingham, Alabama. And somehow he came across Braden's book, really liked it, contacted Braden and told him how proud he was, what a fine job he did, and invited him to be their guest speaker at their next Historical Society meeting in May and come in and talk about his book. So good for you, Braden. That's going to be not only a good experience for a teenager, but sell some books.
Yeah, making connections, and that's the key in the writing game these days. We got a comment here from B.A. Johnson, Barbara Johnson. Good evening, everyone. Waiting to hear from Dr. Toney, my best friend. Barbara was on, I see here on my calendar, just a few weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. So go back in the archives and check out that episode. That was a good time. We had a lot of fun there.
Yeah, pretty lately, every time we mention somebody, she knows them or is best friends with them, Loretta Spencer. And, so, hey.
That's what I'm talking about, networking.
Networking. Barbara's one of those people who knows everybody, and we like knowing people who know everybody. So
yeah, we have a newsletter, and you can subscribe to that newsletter right here. Just go over to the freshinkgroup.com page, the website, and you'll find the newsletter sign up, and simple little tasks: your name, your email, and you will be up on everything Fresh Ink Group and Voice of Indie podcast and indie publishing in general. As you just heard, we're talking about printing prices going up and all that good stuff. So,
and there's no pop quiz. You just go over there and find out the info and, use it as you will.
Yeah. And then we've also got a YouTube channel, and we are really pushing this because we're trying to grow this thing. The bigger we get, the better for the authors and the guests that are on here, the musicians and the people that we bring on here. It's a bigger reach. And everybody, it's that thing about the floating all the ships, the high tide floats or whatever, however that goes. But, we want to help out. We really do. We're not in here just for self-promotion. You might see a book trailer from us on here from time to time, but we're not in here for self-promotion. We're here to promote other people, and those other people then become part of that network. So, and it's all about a network. And we've got down there in Houston, Texas, Robert McKenzie, Bobby Mack is in the house tonight.
Yeah.
Welcome aboard, Robert McKenzie, author of The Chair series. Get over there and check it out on Amazon. The Chair by Robert McKenzie. Just look for it and you'll find all 5 editions, all 5 volumes.
Yeah, that YouTube channel, we're putting stuff on there pretty much every week, and all of our book trailers are there, and that's up to 85, 90 now, something like that. Book trailers, we've got some short audio stories and whatnot. So there's a lot of cool stuff there to check out, but especially on those book trailers, we like to rack up the views, obviously. And while you're there, hit that thumbs up, because those thumbs up help a lot too. The more we get thumbs up and the more views we get on these, the more YouTube then recommends this channel.
The algorithm.
And recommends these trailers to other people to discover as well. So it's kind of a promotion game. You got to be popular to get popular. So we're trying to get popular.
Yeah.
And we appreciate your help on that.
Yeah. And, that's the thing with these sites like Amazon. I mean, there's certain things you can do once you get to a certain level of subscribers and views and all that stuff. And so we're pushing that way. Like I said, we're looking to promote everybody. We bring on people that we don't publish, never met these people before, but they've got a book and they've reached out and said, hey, can we, be a part of this? And so we got a guy coming up in, I believe it's the first week of April. I don't know who he is, but he had an interesting email that he sent and said, look, I've got this new book out. Is there any way? And we're like, yeah, that's why we do this. So
Yeah. He was persistent. He earned a spot by showing he's very serious about promoting and seeing if we could help.
Now, what you don't want to do is
wait outside in our front yard until we get home.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say we had one guy on just as the old podcast was having problems with Blog Talk Radio. And the week that he was supposed to be on, we had the problem. And so I said, hey, we'll reschedule you. We'll go the very following week. We get him in there. And this guy just ghosted us.
Yeah.
Never came back, nothing. So somebody else got his spot and we were able to do the show the following week. But thankfully, we're not having those kind of issues here. Oh, and the quote I was looking at, rising tide lifts all boats. John F. Kennedy. Thank you, Barbara. I had it in my mind, but when I get sitting here and I'm trying to think of all these different things that I got sitting on this paper in front of me, and it becomes jumbled. So
who are you wearing this week, Beem?
This week,
Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
All right.
A Christmas present from my co-host.
That's right. And I'm wearing the Beatles.
Ooh, the Beatles.
Yeah. So let me see if it can't get the logo down there. Yeah. It's down
the
there.
Beatles.
It's the Beatles. Yeah.
Cool.
It just felt right today. So,
yeah.
Hey, let's jump into this. We got the top 25 print bestsellers.
Yes. And if I remember right, it's 24 this week.
Ooh, okay.
So starting in the number 24 slot, Michael Filippello's children's book. It's an illustrated children's book called Miratambo Moon Song. And another illustrated children's book by Dr. Helen Burrell, The Hippocampus, the Interactive Brain Book. Fun Learning for Science Lovers. Those are both very cool books. Yeah. And then Angie Birmingham, who was going to be tonight's guest, but again, April 9th, mark your calendars, Journey Through the Lens, Creative Guide to Nature Photography. That's the softcover edition that's made our top 25 list this week. And then The Chair, Volume 5 by Robert McKenzie, subtitle Mintaka, Alnilam, and Alnitak. That's the 5th in the Chair series. How many before it, Beem?
There's 4 before that.
There you go. And now here is the hardcover edition of The Chair, Volume 5, Mintaka, Alnilam, and Alnitak. So congratulations, Robert. You're selling both editions. And we've got Loretta Spencer, who I have it on good authority is personal friends with B.A. Johnson, children's author B.A. Johnson. Loretta Spencer, A Passion for Service, a candid memoir by the first woman mayor of Huntsville, Alabama. The first woman mayor of Guntersville, Alabama, just requested a copy of that book from me this week. So that's pretty cool. Now we've got Robert G. Willis Croft. Operation Ivy Bells, a Mac McDowell mission, is the first book in the Mac McDowell mission series. He now has six books in that series, or actually the 6th book is in the pipeline. So 5 are out, number 6 is in the pipeline. And then Loretta Spencer again, this is the hardcover edition, and then Trains of Alabama, which I mentioned earlier. Short Lines, Rail Yards, Engines, Heritage Units, Railfan Photos, and more by Braden Dexter Green. Ooh, The Reality of Interpersonal Leadership, A Guide to Leading Authentically by Janelle A. Jordan. She also wrote and was published by us, Minority Millennials in the Workforce. This Reality of Interpersonal Leadership is kind of a workbook with daily things, and you can log stuff in there, and it's to help grow your leadership, both as a person and professionally. Now we've got A.K. Wingler's How to Start and Run Your Own Food Truck Business in Florida. And she's got 2 other food truck business books. What states are those, Beem?
We got Georgia and what was the other one?
Where the Grand Ole Opry is?
Oh, Tennessee.
Tennessee, yeah. All right, so she's got 3 food truck business books, and if you're interested in starting a food truck business anywhere else besides those 3 states, these books are still excellent. 90% of what's in them applies to just about anywhere. It's just that they're specific to the states because they put the actual forms and license requirements or whatever in there. Now, Princess Lil, this is a chapter book aimed primarily at little girls about a pony that's getting bullied, and that's by Nell Cooper. And Nell Cooper's also got a novel that she wrote for adults, which I suspect might be a little higher on this list. We'll have to see, won't we, Beam?
Yeah.
All right, what do you think of this next book here? What's this thing called? Celebrate 98, The Untold Stories Behind the Tennessee Football Vols' 1998 National Championship. And that's by Dave Hooker. What's that about, Beam?
Yeah, that's a must-have for Tennessee Vols fans, but it's also a must-have for college football fans because this documents that miraculous run. 1998, the Tennessee Vols won the national championship. They were supposed to have won it the year before when they had superstar Peyton Manning at the quarterback, but that didn't happen. And Peyton graduated and went on to the NFL. And these guys were looking at picking up the pieces. And what happened? They made a crazy run and won the national championship. So,
yeah, that Peyton guy graduated and faded into obscurity, didn't he?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, we're up to number 10. I Won't Be Your Scapegoat, David Carroll's Homemade Social Media Blunders. Those of you who missed last week's show when David Carroll was the guest, get into that archives and check that out. That was a great episode, wasn't it, Beam?
It was. He's a lot of fun every time he's on, and he's a natural in front of the camera because that's his day job. He's the NBC nightly news anchor down there in Chattanooga, or up there where you're at.
Yep. Now, we're back to Robert G. Willis Croft's Operation Ivy Bells, a Mac McDowell mission again. This is the hardcover. This novel tends to consistently outsell the softcover with the hardcover edition. And considering it's a lengthy book with a pretty good price tag on it, that's pretty impressive. So congratulations, Robert. You got some serious fans out there. How to Teach Driving Behind the Wheel, Lesson by Lesson, Instructor's Edition. This is by Kenneth Lindquist. He owns the Red Mountain Driving Academy in Birmingham, Alabama. He's also got a second book that we published, which is the same title except Parents Edition. So this one in particular is for people who want to get a job teaching driver's ed, and many states require certification or passing tests or whatever, and this is how to prepare to become certified. The Parents Edition is just if you've got a teenager and you want to make sure that this teenager is learning all the important stuff, here's a guide to help you do that. I got two grandsons in the Birmingham area too, who are talking to this guy about getting their driver's ed going. He's really good. He knows what he's doing, and his books are excellent. So we highly recommend those. There's How to Start and Run Your Own Food Truck Business in Florida. Again, this is the hardcover. We find these food truck books tend to sell very well in hardcover because people want to be able to, wipe off that cover and keep it on the truck, for example. Now, yeah. I don't know who this top guy here is in the number 6 slot. You heard of him, Beam?
Mark Herndon. Didn't he play drums for the Beatles? No. Led Zeppelin? No. Metallica? No, it's not it.
Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama?
Alabama. The mighty Alabama. He 28 years. Mark was the driving force behind the beat of country supergroup Alabama. And he's a Hall of Fame, Country Music Hall of Fame member, along with the rest of the band. And this is his story. Fantastic book. There's some, differences between him and the other band members at times, but he takes the high road. He's grateful. These guys gave him the opportunity to have the life he has now by playing in that band. So there you go.
All right, top 5. We're looking at 2 ties for the 3rd place. The Bronze Star this week's going to The Nurses of the Krieg, Book 1 by Anna Morgan. She's over there close to London in the UK. That's a historical novel about two teenage girls who grow up and want to be nurses, and they get thrust into becoming nurses at wartime. Sassy Discovers the AME Church by B.A. Johnson. That's the first of her 2 Sassy books, illustrated chapter books for children about the AME Church. The second one is about Peter Allen, who was the founder of the church's son. And he moved to Texas, and he got involved in some historical stuff that you can learn about in the second book as well. And then, of course, she's got Pandemonium and Puzzletown as her latest. So check those out by B.A. Johnson. Now, we mentioned Nell Cooper, the author of Princess Lil, earlier. What's this book, Beam? It's got a silver star next to it. So it's
this is a kind of a different type of love story. Two kids grow up together in a home here in Michigan for people with disabilities and whatnot. And as they're growing up, they kind of discover they've got feelings for each other. But, in that kind of a situation, you're in that home. Well, the boy, he ends up graduating from school and gets a job. So he moves out, and the girl, they're going to send her to a doctor to have an operation that she doesn't want. So she splits. And the second half of the story is these two, they're kind of traveling through these paths that they got to take to try to find each other. Do they find each other? You'll have to buy the book and find out.
And then, also tied for second place, Trains of Alabama. Short lines, rail yards, engines, heritage units, railfan photos, and more by teenager Braden Dexter Green, who's working on his second book right now about the Alabama and Tennessee River Railway. It's pretty cool. He actually got to meet the president of the company that runs the ATN Railroad, too. And the guy's cooperating with him on the book, which is very handy. And then, of course, number one, sitting up there by itself with a gold star next to it, is retired U.S. Navy Lieutenant Commander Jerry Pate's Submariner. 30 years of hijinks and keeping the fleet afloat, which he put together with an assist from science fiction and thriller writer Robert G. Willis-Croft. So congratulations, Jerry. Submariner made number one this week.
Yeah. And in case you forgot, we used to have an audio show. So the first, 230 or whatever episodes, this was over there on the audio show. We still have all of those episodes in the archive. If you're up cleaning the house and you don't have time to sit down in front of a TV and watch the shows, you can turn this on and have it on in the background and hear some great interviews. We've had some fantastic guests over the years and had a lot of fun with them. And of course, we have an archive for these video podcasts as well. These can be found at all these sites, but if you get a chance, truly go over to the YouTube channel and subscribe and hit those like buttons and help us build this. We really appreciate the assist. And if you want to contact the show at any point, simply go over to the freshinkgroup.com website and see that big red arrow pointing to contact. Click on that and we will get your message. And if it's a message for a guest or if it's for one of us or you just have questions, hey, hit that, send that along, and we will get back with you. So there you go.
All right, we have a new book out. Our latest book that we've published is Matt's Murder by Patricia A. Guthrie. We're going to play you the trailer for that before we meet this week's guest. So Matt's Murder by Patricia A. Guthrie.
All righty, let's find where this one is. It's right there. Right up front. How about that?
The body of Matt Carter lies in the stable, his head bashed, longish blonde hair splayed in a pool of blood. A lone horse stands guard over the victim, witness to a brutal murder, but unable to help solve the crime. Several suspects stand out, a number that grows as the investigation goes deep. 2 more murders appear to be linked. Chief Phil Swanson must unravel this complex mystery, rife with drug smuggling, a scandalous family secret, and betrayal at its worst. What criminal enterprise caught Matt in its web, and what did the horse see? Proudly published by Fresh Ink Group in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. Matt's Murder by Patricia A. Guthrie is a thriller with surprises at every turn. Gosh, if horses could only talk.
Boy, every time that horse looks at me, I think he's trying to pick a fight. What are you looking at? What are you looking at?
All right, so we got a couple of comments here. Hey, everybody. Robert G. Willis-Croft is in the audience. Now, this is from Deborah Clay, and she says, hi, Beem and Stephen. Glad I got a chance to hear more about Dr. Toney's book. I heard that there's a second book coming. Can't wait for that one. I purchased the first for my grandchildren. Well, thanks for tuning in tonight, Deborah. And we're going to read Dr. Toney's bio here, and then we're going to bring her in so everybody else gets the chance to meet her. Dr. Janice D. Toney was born in Huntsville, Alabama, and grew up in the Madison County area. She attended Alabama A&M University, where she earned both a bachelor's of science and a master's degree in elementary education. Dr. Toney has taught in the Limestone and Madison County school systems and acquired an administrative endorsement from the University of Alabama. She earned her doctorate in organizational leadership with a concentration in human resources from Nova Southeastern University. Dr. Toney has always helped students reach their full potential, often saying, take it to another level. My parents were always saying, take it down a level, would be a little too loud.
Yeah.
She is family oriented, spending as much time as she can with her husband, often traveling together. Besides writing, she likes to shop and dine out. She is active with her church and the Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. Janice Toney still lives in the Huntsville, Alabama. And with that, we are going to bring her in. And welcome to the show, Dr. Janice Toney.
Hi,
Hello, and thank you for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you heard the comment from Deborah Clay there. She's got the first book, and she's waiting for the second book.
I did. Hold on, it's coming.
How soon is it coming?
Well, I'm working on it now. So my goal is to have it out by the summer. Now, what part, the first, the middle, the last, just out by the summer. Just it depends on you, Gary.
Yeah, well, see, I'm originally from Michigan, and Beem is still in Michigan. So when you say summer, that's about a 3-week window.
Oh,
in
okay.
Alabama, we'll give you 6-8 months. So
yes.
take your time.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, we had 52 degrees yesterday, so I was close to spring-like, but now
Yeah, we had 81 today.
We're back into the 20s again today. So
for everybody to get the flu.
Yeah.
So we've had Janice Toney on the Janice D Toney on the podcast before when we were doing the audio ones. So some of you are familiar with her, but let's backtrack a little bit and tell us again, where are you, Janice, and where are you from, where all of you lived?
Okay, I was born and raised in Huntsville, Alabama, and I am still here living in Huntsville. I'm one of 15 original Huntsvillians because we have so many transit people in these days, which is good for the city.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you've been in Huntsville all your life?
I've been in Huntsville all of my life.
Well, you've seen it grow a lot over the years, haven't you?
I have. We have almost all of the fields that used to be for farming. Those are just about gone, and they're being replaced with houses and apartment complexes, townhouses, condos, and large companies that are moving here into the city.
Yeah, I'm here in Guntersville, about a half hour from Huntsville, and the road 431 from here to Huntsville, both sides building as fast as they can build stuff. And of course, the old joke around here is if you go drive by a big pile of dirt tomorrow, it'll be a Dollar General.
Yes. Yes. I had a bid on what I thought was going to be a nice restaurant down the street from me, and come to find out it's a Dollar General store. How disappointed, because I could taste the Mexican food. It's like, how disappointing. So, and it's across from a graveyard, so they don't discriminate where they want to build these buildings.
Yeah. Now, what kind of a child were you? Because you, as an adult, you're into helping children, and you've written a children's book. Were you a reader and a writer? And what got you on that road to, as an adult, wanting to contribute to the well-being of children?
Well, my mom at a very early age introduced all of the siblings to reading, and she created a small library shelf in our linen closet. And the only responsibility we had during the week was to find time to read, spend at least an hour each night reading a book off of the shelf. So from that, it started me having a yearning for reading. And it basically never stopped until I got into college, when I had to read everything, all the textbooks. And at that point, I really hated reading. And then when I was working on my doctoral degree, it was like, if I ever put these books down and finish, I'm not going to read another book. Well, I lied. I lied. So it's been ingrained in me all my life.
Yeah. For me, reading it's almost addictive. It's since I could first learn to read. I remember the first time when I'm in first grade, we're allowed to go to the library and check a book out, and that I was hooked from the beginning.
Yeah, I was excited to get my library card, and actually, my favorite author that I love to read her books is Danielle Steele.
Yeah, I've read a couple of hers.
Yes, because she's so detailed. Everything is detailed. So kind of trying to like pattern a little bit after her. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that you mentioned, getting your first library card. Let's give a shout out to the librarians that
Oh, yeah.
encourage young people, because they
Yes.
did me. We had a city, kind of two cities together, built a library between our two towns, and I
Hmm.
got that library card when I was a kid. I'd ride my bike a half hour to go up there, and I'd walk in, and those two librarians that worked there, hi, and they'd remember me, and we got a book in you might like or whatever, and they encourage you, and what a difference
Yes.
that makes. What a
Yes.
difference.
When they can call you by your first name,
Mm-hmm.
and they learn your taste in books, and they
Yep.
can pull a book for you, that was just a natural excitement for me. It was like, wow, she
Mm-hmm.
knows what I like to read.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, and that's good for kids these days, and that's one of the reasons why I'm retired, but I work 3 days a week at one of the county schools as a reading interventionist to help the young ones, the babies that are coming up in kindergarten, first and second grade. They're excited to read. They want to read every day. Like today, I had a kindergarten. She said, "Can I stay with you all day?" I said, "No, no, you can't." I said, "But I'll be back tomorrow." So it's very important for our students, our kids to learn to read.
Yeah, and it's really amazing when it sticks with them and they get into adulthood and they're still into reading. And talking about
Mhm.
the library, uh, years ago, I'm divorced now, but years ago when I was married, my ex-wife and we used to go to the library. I think it was like every Tuesday night together.
Mhm.
And she would
Mhm.
go off and find the books that she wanted, and I'd find the ones I want. Then we'd bring them home, and before bed, she'd have the lamp on her side reading, and I'd have the lamp on my side reading. And it was just one of those things that
You just
that
need your
carried.
popcorn in the middle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it carried over, and it was just a lot of,
Right.
I read a lot of really good books back then.
Yeah.
Hmm. So, Dr. Toney, did you go to school in Alabama?
I did. I went to elementary school here in the city. I started there at West End Elementary. And then from there, I went to Council High, which was one of the oldest HBC, oldest Black high schools in the city. Then we had two. It was Council High and Council Training. And then from there, I went to Alabama A&M University, had a ball, enjoyed myself. If I had to do it again, I would do it the same way. I loved college. I loved the friendship. I was a social butterfly anyway. So, and I got a chance to meet a lot of the professors that I knew from growing up. So a lot of them knew me. So I had to act right because they were called home. And I wasn't paying for the tuition either. So I had to do what I needed to do and do the right thing.
Hmm.
So, but everything was here.
And there's a
All
comment
right.
from Mary Jones.
Good
Oh,
evening, everyone. Do we know Mary Jones?
that is a cousin.
Oh, cool.
And thank you, Brenda, for coming on.
Yeah,
And
thank
here
you.
was one that came up before that. I showed that, but if you saw that.
Oh, that's Aaliyah. That's one of the characters in the story. That's
Okay.
my daughter, Aaliyah.
All right.
All right.
So, and she's in Atlanta. So she lives there in Georgia.
All right. Well, we're talking to Dr. Janice Toney, and we are looking for comments. So feel free to tell us what you think. And we're going to play a couple of trailers now for books Fresh Ink Group has published, and then we'll be back with Dr. Toney.
Yeah.
Submariner. 30 years of hijinks in keeping the fleet afloat. Jerry Pate's semi-autobiographical collection of 60 stories recounts his 30 years in and around the U.S. Navy submarine fleet, ranging from lighthearted to wrenching. All are poignant inside looks at naval operations rarely seen by outsiders. Topics include the real story behind the shuttle Challenger tragedy, risking his own life underwater, discovering a Soviet spy living across the street, surviving when an engine ignites, critical missions, and the everyday lives of men and women of the fleet. Compiled by author Robert G. Williscroft and proudly published by Fresh Ink Group. Submariner is available worldwide in hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. Dive into Submariner for hijinks and breathtaking adventure with this poignant memoir by a true American hero.
In 1948, 8-year-old Kay is at Oakdale, the Lapeer State Home in Michigan, where people of all ages with physical and mental aberrations come to live. Kay wonders why she is here and if she will ever leave. She cares for an infant who will not let anyone else feed her, and she has friends, especially a boy her age she calls Toe. When Kay and Toe grow close as teens, she discovers the home has scheduled surgery that will change her life. With the clothes she's wearing and the file containing her life story, Kay flees late one dark night. Toe tries to chase after her, but a fateful accident robs him of the chance to seek the love of his life. Will Kay ever experience the kind of family she has longed for? Published in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook editions by Fresh Ink Group, Nell Cooper's Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow is a historically accurate coming-of-age story about identity, belonging, and learning to choose one's own destiny. Read Nell Cooper's Nowhere to Go But Tomorrow.
Nell Cooper's having a lot of fun out there promoting that book, doing speaking engagements.
There's another one from Mary Jones, and here's another one as well. Now, you mentioned your daughter out there. You want to talk a little bit about her? Tell us what she's all about.
Well, Aaliyah, lots of energy, just a leader, a natural born leader. She takes on her challenges and she sets her goals and she strives very hard to accomplish everything that she has on her list. She has a big heart. Aaliyah is, like I said, she's a fighter. She's not a quitter. She has patience of Job. A lot of times she has more than a mom, I have to say. And but she just achieved her master's degree in system engineering, and she
Wow.
works as an engineer for Lockheed Martin in Georgia. And this will start her 4th year. Time goes by so fast. I think it starts her 4th year. So, her dad and I, we are very, very, very proud of her. And she loves reaching out and helping young children when she can, or anybody as far as that's concerned. She will give her last to help someone when they're in need.
And do you have other children?
That's the youngest. Yes, I have my oldest daughter, Kaloa, and she lives in Georgia as well. And she's married to Derek Witherspoon, a former NFL player. He played.
I know that name. I know from the NFL. Yeah.
Yes. He played with the Philadelphia Eagles. And Kalani, my granddaughter, that's the other character in the story, is their daughter. She's attending the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. She runs track for them, so she's on a track and academic scholarship. And she has a lot of her Aunt Aaliyah's ways, and she works hard at everything that she does, very hard.
Cool. And what's your husband do?
My husband, Anthony, is a dentist.
Oh,
So we have our practice here in the city. He went to school here in the city. He was born and raised here in an area called Chelsea, Alabama. And it's on the map. It's on the map. And so he was raised there and went to school at Butler High School. He attended school there. And then from there, he went on to Alabama A&M University, where he played football. He received many accolades there as far as the Magic City Classic. He received an outstanding award for, I guess, the VP of the football team of the game that day. And he also was offered to come and go and play NFL ball at 4 different teams in the NFL. And he turned it down because he said the Lord told him he was going to be a dentist and he was sticking with that. And I'm glad he did, because we don't have to worry with the aches and pains at our age.
yeah. A lot of those people pay the price later in life.
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
Yes. And he said, not me. So,
We saw a comment from Kalani.
oh, Kalani's on. Hello,
Right there.
baby.
Yeah. And this is your granddaughter?
My granddaughter. Yes.
You got a bunch of grandkids?
No, I have 4.
4. Okay.
I love to spoil them and send them back
Shout them
home.
out so that they'll feel guilty if they don't
And-
come watch the podcast.
Yeah.
There's a comment from your daughter there.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Yes,
Mom. Okay.
What are
Okay,
their
yes.
other names?
I have Derek Witherspoon Jr.,
Hmm.
Drew Witherspoon, Kalani Witherspoon, and gosh, 1, 2, 3.
You're allowed to miss one. If you miss 2, they take your grandmother card
Okay,
away.
no. Leah, help me out. Which one is it? Who am I missing? Kalani, Drew. I guess because I'm around them all. I talk to them more than I talk to the other one. Drew, Kalani, Derek, and it'll hit me shortly, and I'll come back.
We'll
with
try. We'll try it again later in the show, and it'll be right there. You'll remember
Yeah.
it instantly.
Jalen.
There you go. Yeah.
Jalen.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
here's
I don't
one
think this
from
is Jalen as much.
Frankie Tatum. Says
Oh,
good
she
evening,
came from
Dr.
Bible study.
All
Okay,
right.
good evening. Thank you, Frankie, for joining.
Yeah. Can we
Thank-
see the Willis Croft comment again?
Yeah, the Willis Croft comment. He mentioned reading.
He discovered the library at America House in Darmstadt, Germany. Went to the
Ooh.
science fiction shelf, started with the A's, less than a year, read the entire shelf.
Oh, wow.
Very cool. See what a
Yeah.
library can do?
Yes.
It'll open up the
it's-
mind.
It's a
Mhm.
magic world that you can go all the way around the world and never leave the spot.
Yeah.
And there, your daughter's giving you a helping hand.
Jalen.
Yeah, I came up with the Jalen. Sorry, Jalen.
Yeah. Just don't forget the birthdays.
Oh no, they're all right together. So that
So what other ways do you spend your time besides working on children's books and enjoying semi-retirement and
Hobbies?
working that 3 days a week?
yeah, I'm glad you said semi because it's definitely semi. I'm working
Yeah.
harder now than I did when I was teaching. I like to play around with chocolate. Last week I made a bunch of truffles
Ooh.
in different flavors, and they went over really big, really big. And with the help of with Deborah, that came over to help me because I was doing 3 things at one time, tutoring. So I tutor a little bit at home during a week also. So I was tutoring, doing another podcast, and making truffles.
I'm a chocolate connoisseur.
Oh, really?
So,
Well,
yeah,
you
I love
mine.
chocolate. If it's something I've not tried before, but it's
Uh-huh.
chocolate, I get it. I try it.
Well, you
Did
will
I
love
mention I
mine.
live a half hour away from you?
Yes. Come on, let me know so I can prepare them.
There we
So
go.
yeah, I did salted caramel, white chocolate with cherry, a mint, dark chocolate with amaretto. I did one with almond, a milk chocolate with almond with a pecan, and then I just did a plain dark chocolate.
Oh, cool. Now,
Fantastic.
see, I'm hungry and I got to wait till the end of the show. But again, we're talking to Dr. Janice D. Toney. She's author of the illustrated children's book. It's illustrated chapter book, Daddy Yo-Yo and the Legendary Marble Tournament. We're going to play 2 more trailers now, and we're looking for more participation if you want to leave some comments for Dr. Toney or some questions, because she's ready to answer some questions too.
I am.
Yeah. All right.
A shocking proposal that changes everything. Desperate to honor his father's dying wish, Laken Martin vows to do whatever it takes to save the family farm. Once the Army discharges him following World War II, Laken returns to Missouri to find his legacy in shambles and in jeopardy. A foreclosure notice from the bank doubles the threat. He appeals to the local banker for more time, a chance to rebuild, plant, and harvest crops, and time to heal far away from the noise of bombs and gunfire. But the banker firmly denies his request. Now what? Then the banker makes an alternative proposition. Marry his unwanted daughter, Sarah Beth, in exchange for a 2-year extension. Out of options, money, and time, Laken agrees to the bargain. Now he has 2 years to make a living off the land while he shares his life with a stranger. Read A Beggar's Bargain, Book 1 in the Bargainer series by best-selling author Jan Sykes. Available worldwide from multimedia publisher Fresh Ink Group. in jacketed hardcover, softcover, and all ebook formats. A Beggar's Bargain by Jan Sykes.
Prepare to think as you explore these 19 short stories by author, composer, and producer Stephen Gies. Avoiding any single genre, this collection showcases Gies' storytelling from literary to Southern Gothic to coming of age, allegory, humor, and even fantasy, all finessed to say something about who we are and what we seek. Some of these tales have been passed around for years, others so virgin they have never known the seductive gaze of a reader's eyes. Now, you can go digital, Kindle, Nook, Kobo, iTunes, Google Play, and more, or you can keep it soft with a paperback to whip out in mixed company. Or you can really show off, be the envy of your crowd with a dust-jacketed hardcover. Fresh Ink Group is where it's coming from. Amazon and the rest are where it's at. Just point and click, and you too can feel the electric surge of the latest from Stephen Gies. So when life's currents get to pulling too hard, don't fight it. Just open the book and discover 19 new ways of going with the flow. Because now, more than ever, comes this time to float.
All right. I know the guy who wrote that last one, and I enjoy that book. So definitely get out there and check that one out.
It's a good book. I can vouch for that. It's an excellent book. Great short stories. So, Janice,
Yes.
now Daddy Yo-Yo is your first book. When did you first start writing? And what was your process leading you to, hey, I'm going to do this book?
Well, it wasn't, I had help. The Lord helped me to, I was working with my students and my second graders. And, I started looking at the books and the books that won several different awards, from Caldecott to Newbery to Coretta Scott King to the Purple Dragonfly. And I reading the different layouts. I was looking at the different layouts and reading the books, and I kept saying to myself, I can do this. I can do this. I can write a book. And I know I have a plethora of stories that I can share. And I can do this. And I started praying about it. And Lord behold, I was leaving school at Lynn Fanning one day, and I remember driving down the road and turning on the Eakins, and there's this white house on the corner. And that's all I remember. The Lord started pouring the words into my head. I don't remember making it from there to the busy interstate to get home. I just remember when I pulled in and I said, I'm home. I went into the room, into my bedroom, because we kept a recorder in there at the time. We lived on Gala Drive. And I pushed the button and I just let it all flow out. And that's where it started. And that was back in, I want to say maybe 2003, 4, maybe. And it just all started pouring out from that point. And I can't let it go. So I work hard. I had a very bad experience from the beginning. And my bestie, BJ, Barbara Johnson, she said, Jan, let's talk about this. Calm down. I mean, I was just so devastated because I could not believe things like that would happen. But to make a long story short, she introduced me to Gary, and the rest is history. So I sat to redo the book again. And that was one of the best choices that I could have ever made. And thank you, Gary, for convincing me to do it. And because I was a basket case, just to be honest with you.
It's amazing how many books sometimes don't happen. They get that close, but then they don't quite happen. Things just need to come together.
Right. And I submitted the book to the Purple Dragonfly, and my book was selected last year as one of their books.
Yeah.
So it has a book award. And I look to have many, many more books as award-winning books. And who knows,
Hmm.
it might be able to turn it into a real movie one day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we just had a question there, Beem. Can you pull that back
Yeah.
up?
Okay.
The inspiration behind Daddy Yo-Yo. How did that name come about?
That's one of those 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning when you don't sleep and you
Yeah.
think you're going to sleep, but you start thinking about the book. And I was looking for something that was catchy, something that had make you go, that's a nice title. And I wrote it down, Daddy Yo. And I said, okay, yeah, but no, Daddy Yo-Yo sounds better. And that's how I came up with it. Was one of those 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning type thing when I do my best thinking when I'm supposed to be sleeping. I always keep a little notepad beside my bed to take notes. So I won't have to ask, now, what did I say? Because you would say to yourself, I won't forget this. I won't forget this. And the next morning, it's like, I don't remember a thing. So I start leaving a notebook beside my bed at night to write.
I've been there.
Yeah. So who are we seeing on the screen here?
Okay, this is Aaliyah and Kalani. Aaliyah is in the purple African attire and Kalani's in the green, and they were dressed up like African queens to celebrate to celebrate their heritage, because Big Mama shared a lot of stories with them about their heritage, and they went all out. They went all out, and they had the first encounter with the scarf. That was the first, the altercation about the scarf. And Big Mom has to come out and on the porch, and she tells him, "Look, there's nothing worth fighting over," So that's where that first inclination of, okay, we can solve a problem without fighting. But they had really pulled the scarf and it was into shreds. So neither one of them ended up with it. As you can see, there's Big Mama there, and she's telling him, girl, you can solve a problem without fighting. What in the world? Because they were about to just kill each other. And as the old and wise lady of the neighborhood, and everybody listened to her, and they did, and they were able to solve the problem. Neither one of them got a chance to wear the scar. And then this is Big Daddy coming home from work. Everybody else on a Saturday afternoon is at home enjoying Saturday, but Big Daddy, he has to go to work, and he's coming down the road. And before Aaliyah jumps into his arms, he's singing and swinging his hands, singing his old favorite hymn, "Sit Down, Servant, and Rest a Little While." That was one of his favorite hymns to sing from church. And Aaliyah just loved her granddaddy. And then the man on the shelf, that's Daddy Yo-Yo.
Okay.
Leah, as you look, she pulled on her grandfather's coattail, and she's asking him, "Do you know who that person is? That picture on the mantelpiece?" And Kalani's just soaking all this in. And he said, "Sure, I know him. The question is, do you know him?"
Yeah.
And he goes on to tell her, he said, "I know him as, that was my grandfather, which makes it your great great grandfather." And he said he was Daddy Yo-Yo. And Daddy Yo-Yo is a mystical figure that only ones that are able to see him are the children in the neighborhood and his grandson that's telling many stories that was passed on to him through Daddy Yo-Yo, and he's passing them on to his kids and grandkids, or to his grandkids, to keep that oral history alive.
Yeah. Is that him on the cover up in the upper left corner?
Yes, that is Daddy Yo-Yo in the upper left-hand corner. So we're fortunate we can see him, but that's just a gift to us, because the only ones that are able to see him are the kids, the kids in the neighborhood, and his son, grandson. I'm sorry. So we have a little, give us a little bit of a vision of what he actually looks like. Okay, here is the only truly made up character. And I laughed that morning. There's another one of those 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning type situations. And is the bully. And the bully's name is Eva I. Bucket Smith. I just thought it was just the bomb when I thought about it. I said, yes, this will work for him. And he wears a question mark on the back of his shirt, which means I don't have a clue. A bully, a person is constantly asking questions: the who, what, when, where, how, and why. And and they do. And he's known to wear his pink. Real men wear pink, right? So he's known to wear his pink. So that's another way of expressing his power or his authority, because he can wear pink, and no one would ever challenge him about wearing that pink. Yeah. And then in this picture,
tournament,
this is the tournament, and young Chucky Fry is down getting ready to take his shot. Young Chucky Fry is actually my nephew, the first grandson on the Draper side of the family. Chuck, he just retired from the Huntsville Police Department. so they tell you how old he is now. But this is the tournament, and Chuck, if you look at the cover of the book, he wears a turnaround arrow on his shirt, which means turn your life around. Can a bully turn their lives around? Sure they can. Absolutely. But first you got to get past all those layers of defense. But they can be, and there's a reason why those layers of defense are there. And here is showing where young Chucky hits the marble so hard that he breaks off a piece of his marble. And of course, Evi is mad now. He is truly mad and upset. One, he's embarrassed because all the kids in the back are screaming and yelling for young Chucky because they know the game is over and that young Chucky won the game. But here, Evi refuses to walk away without that marble, because in all reality, he worked very hard during the week to earn the money to buy that marble. But he didn't want the kids to know this. And then for young Chucky to bust his bubble, and also with him losing the game, the fight was on. And young Chucky had already said he knew he was going to lose the fight, but he had to do what he had to do. He was going to stand up to him. And this is him beating the crap out of him. And then Daddy Yo-Yo is walking down the sidewalk. He's always there at the right time. There was always a person in the neighborhood when I was growing up where he was the wisest person, or she was the wisest person that everybody would listen to, no matter what the subject matter was. She was always there, and she gave out information and wise wisdom words to resolve a problem or keep someone from getting a divorce, or just young people falling in love and trying to tell them, you have time for that. So that was Daddy Yo-Yo. And he loved his Pepsis,
Yeah.
That was his thing. When you would see him, 90% of the time he was walking around with a Pepsi, because that was his thing. He loved his Pepsi, and he talked to the kids and broke up the fight. And then at the end, because he laid his Pepsi on the curb, and he went back to get his Pepsi. Well, in this picture, this is Aaliyah, Kalani, and then the new character, her name is Butterroll, which she's introduced in the next story, book 2. And Butterroll speaks in sign language, and they spoke to Daddy Yo-Yo in sign language. And she's excited and shocked because Daddy Yo spoke back in sign language. And Aaliyah, of course, is telling, well, Daddy Yo-Yo knows everything. And after Daddy Yo-Yo tells the story, he gets up and leaves behind Kalani, going to the kitchen for that wonderful dinner that Big Mama had already prepared. And then this mystical cloud shows up, and Big Dad looks over his left shoulder. And I said left shoulder because I'm left-handed. So he looks over his left shoulder, And there was Daddy Yo-Yo, and he's asking for his approval. How did he do in telling the story? And Daddy Yo-Yo gives him a wink of approval, and then he walks away. And this is two of my cousins, renowned musicians in the United States, Cedric Draper and James Blair. They collaborated together and they created the music theme for the whole series of Daddy Yo-Yo.
All right, and that's by James Blair and Cedric Draper. Do you know them?
Yes, those are my cousins.
All right, cool.
Yes.
All right, and here's a reminder, everybody. This is a full color book. The entire book is printed in full color, and it's a big book, 8.5 by 11 inches. It's a laminate hardcover, so you can spill things on it, right, Dr. Toney?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
wipe it right off, or a glossy
Yes.
soft cover, and of course, all of the ebook formats. And this is from Fresh Ink Group. So get out there and get your copy now.
Please.
Yeah.
Buy them for someone else. Buy for a child.
Yeah.
Yeah. Buy for
All
a
right.
child.
Well, our guest has been Dr. Janice D. Toney this week, author of Daddy Yo-Yo and the Legendary Marble Tournament, and a second book, which is in the works right now, too. So we're really
Yes.
excited about that, Dr. Toney.
Me too.
How do people find you, follow you? Are you on social media? Do you have
I'm
a
working
website?
on that. I was trying to get the second book out so I can do it on Facebook. Then so I will have book 1 and book 2 on there. But I have my email address. They can reach me by phone. I'm beginning to get a lot of calls from a lot of people, and because I'm not a quiet person in the city, so everybody knows Janice Toney, or they know my husband, or they know Aaliyah. So been here over 60 years. So people are calling. I've had a couple of schools to call about me coming to their school to talk about bullying to the kids. And I've made one appearance in Monrovia to talk about bullying with the kids.
Oh, cool. And of course, like we always say, if you can't get a hold of any of our guests or our authors any other way, what are they doing, Beem?
Going to the contact form on the freshinkgroup.com website where that big arrow is pointing to, and we will make sure that the guest gets whatever your questions or comments are.
Okay. And I'm working on TikTok, Facebook, and hopefully I will have it up here soon, very soon.
Great. Well, again, people watch our newsletter, and as she
Yes.
develops more websites, social media things, stuff like that, we'll make sure we get that in the newsletter as well.
Thank you.
All right. So we're going to tell you who's coming up on our show in the coming weeks here and play our last 2 book trailers on the way out. Next week, as Beem already mentioned, John W. Howell. He's the author of numerous books, including his latest, Detour on the Eternal Road. So John W. Howell is an old friend of the show, and we've known him for a long time. Who's after that, Beem?
After that, we've got Kenneth Lindquist. He's the driving instructor and an author, wrote the Driving Instructor's Parents Edition and Teacher's Edition books. Stephen spoke about him at the top of the podcast tonight. So tune in for that. Interesting guy, interesting book. You wouldn't think, well, he's a driving teacher. He's a very interesting story. Everybody's got a story to tell. So
yeah, and he's not just a teacher. He owns the Red Mountain
he
Driving
owns it.
Academy.
Yeah,
He founded and runs and all that. So
and
after that,
and he took the time. He took the time to put that the books together. So you know he's going to pass that knowledge on.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then Zeta Alfaro, author, singer, songwriter, musician, and we're going to call her a Renaissance woman. She's down there in Miami. She's putting out novels, she's putting out albums, and who knows, she's probably planting pretty flowers outside the house. But Zeta Alfaro, we had her one time on the audio podcast. She was a fun guest, and we're looking forward to having her back and being able to see her and maybe play some of her songs in addition to talking about her books.
And after that, we've got Patty Wiseman. Patty Wiseman's been a friend of the show for a good many years. She's been on the show before, and she's got some children's books, and we're looking forward to having her back on and telling us what she's been up to. And after that,
After that, Patrick Joseph Healy, somebody that neither Beem nor I know personally, but we like what he's doing out there. He's been doing some good promoting. He's been talking to us about maybe being on the show, and we've decided to give him a slot. So we're all going to meet Patrick Joseph Healy, author of Please Let Me Save You and other books as well. So looking forward to that. And then Beem, what do we do with Angie Birmingham?
We have rescheduled her for the 9th. I don't have her placard here, but trust me, she will be on April 9th. And we're going to have, like we showed pictures from Daddy Yo-Yo's book, we're going to show pictures of the photographs that Angie Birmingham has taken. And there are some, if you get our newsletter, you've seen them. Some amazing photographs. And like Steven said, she's getting ready to go to Nairobi. She's not going over there just for a vacation. She's going to be taking pictures, and you're going to see some really cool stuff. So maybe by I'd say by then she's leaving after the show, so we aren't going to see those for that show. But maybe after she comes back, we'll have her on again and end up
newsletter.
Yeah, get subscribed to the newsletter because we're constantly sharing her pictures in the newsletter. So,
Yep. Now we want to thank everybody who participated tonight. It's a lot of fun when people are putting the comments up, asking for the questions. Of course, Verwayne Greenhoe, we like to see him in the house. And
Janice, I don't know if you saw this one here. It's from your grandson.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
So there you go on that one.
I have to send him a text. He's at Wingate University.
The one whose name you remembered.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll bet you hear about that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shortly.
Oh, well, again, thanks everybody for participating. We appreciate you spreading the word. And thank you, Dr. Janice D. Toney, for being on the show tonight and talking about Daddy Yo-Yo and the legendary marble tournament.
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
Yeah.
All right. So
we'll see everybody next week.
We're gonna run a couple of commercials on our way out, and everybody have a good week. And we will, like Steven just said, we'll see you next week.
Extra, read all about it from Fresh Ink Group and author Beem Weeks. Jazz, baby.
Voice of Indie, a production of Fresh Ink Group. Spread the word, support our guests, then find us at freshinkgroup.com and be sure to Fresh Ink Group.